Today, Colorado Governor Polis explains his state's push to be a leader in crypto acceptance. The viral rapper accused of laundering billions in stolen Bitcoin just posted bail. And scammers lock a family out of $100,000 worth of crypto funds. Welcome to CNBC's Crypto World. I'm Kate Rooney. Cryptocurrencies rallied today, gaining an average of nearly 4% by noon Eastern. This comes as we get signs of easing tensions between Russia and Ukraine. Bitcoin crossed back above $44,000. It rose more than 3.5% in the past 24 hours. Ether also gained ground, rising more than 5.5%. The token hovered right around $3,100. XRP, meanwhile, posted solid gains to about 3% since yesterday. Inflation remains a key driver in both crypto and traditional financial markets. CNBC's Frank Holland dove into the rising trend of black crypto investors who are looking for a hedge against inflation.
About 18% of black Americans have held, traded, or just used cryptocurrency, according to Pew Research, with black men about twice as likely to have exposure to crypto. And many in the black investment community, they're really urging black investors to get more education and to dollar cost average into Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, as opposed to holding their money in cash, mostly as an inflation hedge. That's even as major cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Ripple, have performed just at or just under the 7.5% inflation reported over the last year. Actor and entrepreneur Hill Harper, founder of the Black Wall Street fintech platform that focuses on cryptocurrency investing, says ownership of Bitcoin, even fractional shares called Satoshis, is a tool to build generational wealth.
If we could get every African American in this country to hold at least 1 million Satoshis, I believe we will have created a foundation of wealth that could be leveraged in the future. Because you got to remember that over 62% of all Americans don't even have $1,200 in the bank. Okay, and that number goes up when we're talking about the African American community.
There's also a growing movement of black businesses using cryptocurrency to raise capital or fund projects without the use of the traditional financial system. Some black coins include Vibranium, Guap Coin, and Equity Coin. Andre Villeroy, founder of the online merchant bank Bjorch Digital, says many black business owners are exploring coins as an alternative means to raise capital or even sell ownership stakes in their business.
You've been able to do things that otherwise you would not been able to do. And so now through leveraging the power of blockchain by, quote unquote, leveraging your own token has been a means to raising more capital quick, faster, and larger.
Harper, Villeroy, and many others in the black investing community continue to advocate investing in cryptocurrency as a way, not only as an inflation hedge, but also to close the racial wealth gap that now stands at over $11 trillion.
All right, now let's get you up to date on some of the headlines. First, an update on the couple accused of laundering billions in stolen Bitcoin. Heather Morgan, known on the internet by her rap persona Razzlecon, was allowed by a Washington, D.C. judge to post a $3 million bail. Her husband, meanwhile, Ilya Lichtenstein, remains behind bars. The couple is accused of trying to launder $4.5 billion worth of Bitcoin, stolen in a 2016 Bitfinex hack. The judge says the evidence against the couple was, quote, overwhelming, and if convicted, they face up to 25 years in prison. On the topic of crypto crime, CNBC's Eamon Javers out with a new investigation into scam calls plaguing crypto investors around the country. Eamon spoke with a couple who is locked out of their account with more than $100,000 in crypto funds after a robocall duped them into offering up information tied to two-factor authentication.
It says to secure your account, hit 1.
Yeah.
So I hit 1.
Yeah.
And as I hit 1, the two-factor authentication came through, and I saw a text come through. And this is where, honestly, it gets hazy. Almost like when people say they were in a car accident, and I can't remember the details of what happened. And I looked at my wife and I said, something is wrong. And I said, let's try and get into it. I said, let's get to the account. And so when we opened the Coinbase app, we could no longer get into the account.
Scammers made a record $14 billion in 2021 as cryptocurrency theft rose 516% from a year earlier. The full investigation into crypto scammers is available on CNBC.com. Lastly, you may be able to pay your next tax bill with crypto, depending on where you live. Multiple U.S. states are considering accepting cryptocurrencies for tax payments. A Wyoming proposal would allow residents to pay sales and use tax with crypto, while a bill in Arizona would go even further. It would recognize Bitcoin as legal tender within the state. It's important to point out two big issues, though. First, the U.S. Constitution bars states from issuing their own money. That puts the Arizona bill at risk. And second, the federal government treats crypto as property, meaning taxpayers would have to pay taxes on their crypto before they can pay taxes with their crypto. Now, those setbacks haven't deterred state lawmakers and governors. I spoke with Colorado Governor Polis about his state's push to be a leader in cryptocurrency adoption. We also spoke about the possibility of Colorado issuing its own token. Here's what he told me. You signed something called the Digital Token Act, essentially sending a message that Colorado is open for blockchain business. Hardly the only state to do that. There's more than 20 states that have some sort of crypto legislation, but not a lot of federal legislation. So it really seems to be led on the state side here. What is different when it comes to Colorado's approach?
Well, we were early. We were, I think, the second or third to make sure that crypto transactions have broad exemption from state securities laws. Obviously, federal still applies everywhere in the country. We also have really been in the forefront of innovation here in Colorado. So we were the first state to hire a chief blockchain architect for the state under our Office of Information Technology. He's doing a great job. We have been a sponsor of ETH Denver, which is coming up, which we're incredibly excited about, including hackathons designed for application of distributed ledger technology to public functions. So we're a very forward-looking, innovative state, and really both ETH Denver as well as crypto as well as distributed ledger broadly fit into what we, the way we look at things here in Colorado.
I want to pivot to taxes, fun topic, but you've talked about accepting Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies for taxes. Walk us through how that might work.
Yeah, so it's important that people know from a state perspective, we cannot be in the business of having exposure to a market where securities, including cryptocurrencies, fluctuate. Our expenses are in dollars, still, I would add, you never know what the future brings, but all of our expenses are in dollars. Our budget approved by the legislatures in dollars. So when we talk about accepting crypto for payments, they would be converted back into dollars for our purposes. So there'd be an intermediary there that would then convert them for our purposes back to dollars. But from an external facing portal, we expect by this summer, pretty soon, to accept crypto for all of our state tax related purposes. And then we plan to roll that out across all of state government for things like could be as simple as driver's license or hunting license, within a few months after that. But the biggest set of transactions are the taxes that people pay, and we expect to accept crypto by this summer.
Got it. And one of the things we talk about a lot in Bitcoin, at least, is the volatility. Does that get in the way of any plans of incorporating Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies into taxes or into any sort of payment when it comes to the government side? Does that worry you at all?
Not at all. Again, the state, in our case, we wouldn't hold it as a Bitcoin, as Ethereum. We would not hold it as that asset class. It would be paid and then converted in real time into the way that we do our accounting still, which our budget is approved and our expenses are incurred in dollars. So it would really just be converted at the moment it was paid, and the state, just like accepting a credit card, but with a much lower transaction cost than a credit card.
Got it. And another thing that's taken off and an idea is something called a city coin. I know Miami has moved into that area. New York has talked about a city coin. I know you're the governor, so not necessarily a city coin, but any movement on your end in terms of moving into your own proprietary cryptocurrency when it comes to Colorado, and that as a potential alternative to even raising taxes?
Well, we have a great state senator here, Senator Chris Hansen of Denver, who's pursuing a digital token bill that would effectively allow state-created digital tokens to be utilized for state reserve purposes and other purposes, assigning value to them. So I think there's a bright future with regard to how the public sector can benefit from the distributed ledger and crypto economy, not co-opt it. I mean, nobody wants to see in fact, it defies the very concept of cryptocurrency to have any type of government issued or government backed security. But I think we can benefit from it, both in terms of payments, reducing transaction costs and friction, but also in terms of creating new asset classes to satisfy reserve requirements and keep accounts and protect people's privacy as well, which is a key role of what we need to achieve in government as well.
Really interesting. I mean, anything on the government side that you see as ripe for disruption when it comes to blockchain? People have talked about things like voting and having some more security using distributed ledger technology. Anything that you would be optimistic about, and any changes on the government side that could be built on something like Ethereum?
So certainly we're excited to accept payments in a broad range of crypto by the summer, but in some sense that's superficial because we're not really benefiting from crypto other than just convenience and accepting payment. It's an important part of legitimizing it. We're happy to do it. We're going to do it. But we're also going above and beyond that in a lot of ways, and it's very exciting. For instance, the city of Denver held, I think it was the first in America, blockchain confirmed election for their overseas and military ballots 2 years ago in their municipal elections. So that was about 8,000 ballots, and they were able to do that. We're applying it across ag and ag tech as well. We have some support from our Department of Agriculture about the future of ag. And as I mentioned, we're also a very hospitable place for employee ownership models and community ownership models. And that includes next-gen co-ops that are powered by blockchain technology. And there's several great examples here in Colorado: Nature Tech Nexus, Song Co-op, Spork, which runs East Denver, and an employment one. So with many more on the way. So it's a very exciting time, and Colorado wants to be as hospitable as we can towards these shared ownership models.
Before we go, BlockFi co-founder and CEO Zach Prince spoke to CNBC about the company's settlement with the SEC and a revamp of its lending product. Here's what he said.
This settlement does not impact our existing clients' ability to earn interest. For folks that already have a BlockFi interest account, you will continue earning interest as you always have on our platform. Outside the US, and for our institutional clients on our BlockFi Prime platform, there's no changes whatsoever as part of this settlement and registration process. But yes, during the registration process, we will pause accepting new clients for the interest account. But once the registration process is complete, we'll reopen, and we think there's a good chance we're going to be a first mover in that regard.
With that, you are all caught up for today, but we will be right back here tomorrow with more. You won't want to miss it. We'll see you then.